Okay, we are interviewing Mr. and Mrs. Dale Hooker, Hooker, Rita Hooker, the Waterford Retirement Center at Ironbridge in Springfield, Missouri. This is 15 May 2007. Interviewing is Tommy Pike of the Route 66 Association of Missouri. Engineering, Jerry Benner of the Route 66 Association of Missouri.
Okay. Dale, where did you grow up? In the Devil's Elbow area?
No, I grew up in Dixon. And I moved to St. Louis shortly after I was 5 years old. And I lived in St. Louis all my life. And I moved back to Devil's Elbow in 1945. And I lived there ever since.
It was 1945 when you opened the store and all
Yes,
there
yes,
at the turn where you went down into Devil's Elbow
Yeah.
or Hooker Cut right
Yes.
in there.
yes.
And how many years did you operate that business?
Well, until 1965,
Is there 20 years then?
yes.
Did you sell the business then or just
No.
close it down?
Closed it down. Well, I had an employee, Verl West, that worked for me for the years, and he took it over.
What was the name of the business? We need to establish all that.
Dale's
And it was located, that
in
was
Devil's Elbow.
the post office and,
Well, my first address was Hooker, Missouri. Dale Hooker, Hooker, Missouri. And the second address was Newburg. I
Newburg.
don't know when it changed. When they closed the post office in Hooker, Missouri, it changed.
And your mailing address there become Newburg.
Yes,
And and there's a post office in
Devil's Elbow.
Elbow now. I mean, Mr. Sheldon runs it,
Yes.
and it's still there. And funny they didn't give you Devil's Elbow mailing address
Yes.
instead of Newburg.
No, Newburg.
Yeah.
so this is the same building that Sheldon's running? No, this is the
No,
the
his
other
is the
building.
building down on the
Further
the
down.
dual lane part there. That road was opened like 1940, and he sits right there on the southwest corner of that intersection where you turn and go into Devil's Elbow, or actually you were facing the dual lane section of
Yes,
the road right there.
Yes.
And you had gasoline, you sold gas, and
I had gas, lean, and sporting goods, hardware, groceries, everything.
now, like the sporting goods was what, like fishing tackle and stuff because of the fishing in the area, or?
No, I had reloading equipment and sporting goods, fishing tackle. I sold gasoline. I was the first stop east of Fort Leonard Wood. And so many people coming out of Fort Leonard Wood would stop and they we had a good gas business, and they would stop at Fort Leonard Wood, eastbound, and they would line up on the highway to get gas.
Wow.
They couldn't gas. They would steal the gas. They would park their cars on Fort Leonard Wood, and they would steal the gas out of their cars, and they would be out of gas when they went leave.
Had to stop there to fill up to go on to
Yes.
St. Louis.
Yes,
So you did a big gas and oil business there.
yes. I gave my tenants a nickel a quart of oil that they sold. And I would have they would throw the cans in the separate containers. That's the way I paid them.
What brand of gas did you handle there?
66,
Phillips 66.
Phillips 66,
How much was the gas at that time?
25 cents.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's considerably different from what it is today.
Yes, yes.
What caused you to move back to Hooker? You moved from St. Louis to Hooker. I just wondered why you made that move.
Well, I went in the service, and I came back from the service, and I inherited a farm at Hooker, and 294 acres at Hooker, and I moved back there.
It's a good reason. Well, in the service, you were in the Army, Air Corps, or
Navy.
Navy? Knew I'd guess wrong.
The community of Hooker then was named after some of your
Relatives. They owned the farm originally. The farm that I inherited was owned by my father's grandfather, and he sold it to my mother's grandfather. And
And what was their name?
Hooker, Pruitt.
Pruitt.
He's had a brother that lived at Arlington, and he had the first post office east of the Mississippi, or west of the Mississippi.
At Arlington?
Yes.
But you worked somewhere else. You worked in a grocery store.
Well, I came back to Dixon from a grocery store. I had a grocery store in Dixon before I moved to Hooker.
And it was a IGA?
Yes.
Did you, when you moved there to Hooker and Devil's Elbow area, I mean, Was you going to farm or
Built a store,
you built a store
yes. But I farmed too,
on the side then?
yes.
Did you raise hogs?
Yes, I raised hogs.
Did you raise hay?
Yes. I farmed, general farmed. I grew out of first Purina dog hog house that they have. And I've raised hay, raised cattle, raised everything. I custom farmed. I had farm equipment that I rented out to other people.
You owned the equipment and would rent it to other farmers to use and
No, I would have my own crews
oh,
that would put up hay and combine.
you did custom work for the
Yes.
others in the area
Yes.
then.
Yes,
Where was your farm in relationship to the store? Which way from,
was on the farm. The store was on the farm.
oh, it was?
Yes,
Well, then you had river bottom then, didn't you?
yes.
Now, where was, now is the house there behind this, the one there behind the store kinda,
No.
or?
No, the house burned down.
But that's where it was,
It was there,
behind the store.
behind the store.
Behind the store.
So all that river bottom in there and that big bridge to the west,
Yes.
where the store is and all, you owned all that land
Yes.
there and,
Yes,
yeah, good river bottom in there.
At the Gasconade,
Big Piney.
Big
Yeah.
Piney. Well, and didn't the highway come through your farm?
Come through 3 times.
Come through it 3 times.
Yes. That's the reason I'm here. Settlements that I got from the state.
When they come through.
Yes.
Now, with all this river bottom, what did you do?
With all your river bottom in there, that was good farmland right in there.
Yes. Yes.
That was a good farm.
Didn't you take people on fishing trips?
Took fishing. Took people on fishing trips with the business.
You had a floating bit. You had a float trip business there
Yes.
out of the,
Yes. Out of the store.
yeah.
How did you find time to do all of this stuff?
Well, I hired it done.
Okay,
I hired it done.
because that's a lot going on.
Yes.
That was one of the first things I asked him when we got married. How did you do all that?
Yes, that's what, I'm amazed. What type of people did you meet coming through the store? The travelers?
All kinds.
A lot of soldiers, you said?
Yes. I had a military business at one time. But that all changed when they closed Fort Leonard Wood. They closed Fort Leonard Wood at one time, and after the Korean War, they closed Fort Leonard Wood.
Completely closed it?
No, they rented it out to some farm people from Texas, and I worked for the Conservation Commission, trapped turkeys and deer on Fort Leonard Wood.
But when did the military take it back over?
I don't know. I can't remember. But
I know
they-
it was open during Vietnam.
Well, I was gonna say,
They were packing them through.
it was open
Yes.
in the late
Yes.
50s because I know here in Springfield, they'd be on Friday night, I guess they'd give them a weekend pass, and them soldiers would come from Fort Leonard Wood to Springfield, I guess on buses. And they had Liberty, and of course then the square and all, and they'd just be up there by the dozens, you know. And there was a guy here that rented Jawa motorcycles on Boonville Street, and them soldiers would rent them motorcycles and ride them around, and it wasn't unusual to see one of them old boys with his arm in a cast or something, because he hadn't survived the motorcycle ride.
Well, I moved to Devil's Elbow in 1950. And that's when the reactivated the fort.
Didn't you have some famous people stop at your filling station? Bonnie and Clyde?
Now,
Well, there was something in the article that I
I think
read.
they were dead by then.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
yes, they were shot by them.
I'm sure famous people came by because it was a major road,
Yeah.
and it was a 4-lane stretch.
Well, Bruce Debo and a truck turned over, and they had the golf clubs in it, and they were all putters. And Bruce Debo and I got several of those boxes, the 10 in a box, and we had several of those boxes, and they were all putters. But prior to that, a shrimp boat truck turned over, and we had shrimp out our rears.
Had shrimp. Yeah, that book I brought you, I think one of the stories in there is about that shrimp
Yes, it is.
truck turning over and all the shrimp and everything.
Well, this is what it says in this 1990 paper from Rolla, that old Route 66 brought a number of people Dale's Hooker's way from something to law enforcement officials searching for the famous outlaws Bonnie and Clyde. So that's what I was talking about. But that was before your time.
Yes,
Yeah, they were killed in 33, 34.
yes.
Yeah. In a Ford V8.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Your place there, was that did the bus stop there and pick people up some?
No,
It didn't stop
no.
there. I just wondered if, you know, people could catch like the Greyhound or the Trailways bus there at that. But I guess you was in close enough to Waynesville. If they wanted to catch a bus, they'd go into Waynesville or St. Roberts and catch it.
Well, St. Roberts didn't exist when I went down there.
It wasn't there at all.
No. There was the spur of the fort, but St. Roberts didn't exist.
Well, it was what, just a community that grew up at the gate of the fort kind
Yes,
of then, wasn't
yes,
it?
yes.
So basically, when the fort closed down, that made hard times for business.
Yes. I had to get a job.
What did you do?
Well, I worked for the Conservation Commission.
Okay, okay.
Why was it called the hard road?
Well, because it was paved.
Well, by 45, they had already put in the 4-lane and all
Devil's
that.
Elbow was actually bypassed then.
Yeah.
That dual lane, and what made Hooker Cut in there was put in 40, 41.
Tell them about the emblem that your dad lost.
Well, my granddad lost it and it was plowed up in the field when I took over the farm.
What kind of an emblem was it?
It was a emblem made out of watch fob, made out of a $20 gold piece.
Wow.
It was mashed out, and it was a Masonic emblem.
He lost it, and then when you had the farm and all, you plowed it up.
Yes.
And how many years was it?
Oh, I don't know.
25 years?
About 25 years.
Well, when did you move to Lebanon?
February the 23rd of this year.
February 23rd of this year.
Yes.
You moved here from Lebanon.
But
Yeah. And how long had you lived in Lebanon then?
I lived in Lebanon 13 years. I was the manager of Laclede Electric. That was a
Rural co-op, wasn't it?
yes,
REA?
Yeah.
yes.
That's not it? Let me tell you what it says. Parsons, 1860, $20.
I don't know.
Parson.
I've been trying to find out about that.
That's Parsons Company Assayers. think that's Colorado. 1860, $20. What does it say on the back? Yeah, that's
I had a baby born in my driveway.
a baby born in your driveway.
Yes,
There at Dale's store.
sporting goods store. I was sitting at my desk
Colorado.
in my office, and I had an office in there, and
Is that what that is right there? Colorado?
when
COL, period.
somebody
Colorado.
called a
Did you put
cab
on the back of it?
from Fort Leonard Wood, and he was going to Fort Leonard Wood with a pregnant woman, and he pulled into my driveway and came running in and saying,
Carrot, 18 and a half.
I have a pregnant woman in my car and she's having a baby right now. And I went out and assisted her and called the fort. I took a telephone out of the window of the store and called the fort and asked the doctor what to do. And he said, cut her umbilical cord and send her in. And my father worked at the store, and he had a rough old knife, and I sent across the street for a woman to come, and she couldn't come, and so I sent her in and without cutting the umbilical cord.
Sent her to the Fort Leonard Wood, huh?
Yes. And she came back and named the baby after me.
It's a wonder she lived.
Yes. After I got through with her, it's a wonder she lived. It's a wonder the baby lived.
Yep. Now they gotta be in the best of condition and everything.
Yes. And she had that baby right in the back of that taxi.
Was she going to the fort?
Yes.
Just didn't make it.
Trying to get in the fort.
So he's been well educated.
Yeah. Lucky they didn't want to see your doctor's degree.
Not at a time like that. No. Nobody asks questions.
Life was a lot different then than it is now, isn't
Yes.
it?
What time did the store open and close? And
Well, it opened in 1950 and closed in, I closed it. I went out in 1965. 15 years.
and when you opened in the morning, it would be 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, early, or
No. I stayed open 24 hours.
wow. For 15 years, 24 hours.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Saturdays and Sundays didn't make any difference.
It was, at that time, there was a lot of traffic up and down.
Yes,
Well, in fact, in '65, that was still part of the interstate system right along. I mean, that was
Well-
44 was using that dual lane in there, because they didn't bypass that till up in the '70s. They went on north over and built the new I-44
yes.
through there. Because I remember in the '60s when you went, and early '70s when you went to St. Louis, you had to come down through that stretch there with the little median in between the two lanes.
Why did you close the business?
Well, I got the job at Fort Leonard Wood, or at Laclede Electric. I negotiated a contract for them, and I was union.
You was on the board.
Yes, I was on the board, and I became manager at Laclede Electric, REA.
Better job.
Yes, shorter hours.
Yeah, I could, not 24 hours a day.
Didn't have to be open Saturdays and Sundays then.
Yes,
Well, that would be an incentive to do that.
Sure would be.
But now, you still own that property and all in there?
no, I sold it to my daughter.
Well, your daughter has it
Yes,
then. All of that farmland and all that's
Farmland.
in there.
She came by the other day and she had her laptop computer and showed us before and after pictures. She's getting that place to look like a park.
Yeah, it's got a new coat of paint on it
Yeah.
and all. In fact, I talked to her Sunday, the 13th, and she was talking about what she was gonna do and everything. Said she was moving back from Texas. Is that right?
no, she wants to bring her kids down there and show them that place where she grew up. I had raised horses and had a riding ring back of my house, and she has remodeled the barn and painted the barn. That's where she kept the horses.
And she's not done yet.
She,
You never are with older homes.
Yeah.
You're never done.
but her intentions is to keep it and fix the place up around there then.
Yes. She's not going to move back from Texas.
I thought she was talking about moving back or something.
She
Well,
said she could live there 3 months in the summer. But she'd have to go back to Dallas for the winters.
She teach school.
no,
No. Oh, no, she doesn't teach school.
she's an insurance agent.
Well, that'd be a good place to have in there. Taxes probably aren't too bad right in there just yet.
I don't know. My taxes weren't too bad. When I sold it to her, they reappraised it, and
That's how come we got this picture right here, isn't it? When it was reappraised.
no,
Who took that picture? Hank Harmon?
Hank Harmon.
Well, he's the one that appraised it.
Yeah, but that appraisal didn't. I appraised it to sell it
I know.
to her.
Not
I
a real
appraised it
appraisal.
low.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But this is a pretty bad picture compared to the one you've got in here.
Yeah, that was a picture back when it was in business and
Yeah.
everything.
Well, she has, these are metal signs up here, and she has found those, and she's gonna put them back up there.
Good. Makes it nice for the people that travel to see that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people travel Route 66.
A lot of foreign people travel it.
Yes.
In
We
Lebanon.
Rita and I did a interview with a Japanese film company that made a film of that. And we did an interview.
Well, in fact, Saturday night there were 7 from France, 2 couples, and then 3 older women. They were driving a van, but the 2 couples was riding Harley-Davidson motorcycles they'd rented in Chicago, and they were going to LA, and they got to the rail haven here, and one of them messed the key up on his motorcycle, and it was bent, and daughter called me because she works over there helping Gordon, and she just happened to go by there, and their key was broke, so she couldn't find anything to fix the key, so she called me, and I went over there and we tried to fix the key, and there was another guy staying there, him and his wife and kids, and they were from Atchison, Kansas, and they'd come down here to eat at Lambert's, and they were going to drive 66 west
Back.
and turn and go up to where they was going to drive it over into Oklahoma and then turn and go north. But anyway, we messed with the guy's motorcycle key for a couple hours. It was close to midnight when I went back home. And where the daughter works during the day, why they have a locksmith they call in. She called him about 11 o'clock, and he said, well, if they can wait till in the morning, I'll come in. I'll try to cut them a key. And he cut them a key for their motorcycle and sent them on their way Sunday morning.
Well,
But what I found funny, then they called her yesterday morning. They want to know where the motorcycle shop was in Tulsa, and she said that one of the girls on the motorcycles told her that they couldn't believe how much help.
People gave them.
Yeah, here she said in France they wouldn't do this for you. She said, oh, there was me and the guy that was there staying in the motel. We worked on his motorcycle trying to get the key to work and everything, and then the locksmith came and somebody else tried Sunday morning. And so she said they was kind of impressed with the reception they had gotten.
They'd have been in a pickle without the help, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they'd have been hunting a motorcycle key.
We'll have to buy the whole new thing.
But, yeah, you know, it's, traveling Route 66 now is a little different than traveling the interstate.
Yes.
But, let me see, about a month ago, doorbell rang at the house, and the wife answered the door, and she come in there and said, "You best talk to this guy." And I went to the front door. She said, I think he said he was from Singapore. And I said, "Oh, what's he doing here?" She said, "I don't know, but you better go talk to him." And sure enough, I think he's, what did he say his name? I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Ching, C-H-I-N-G. And he'd been in Kansas, and he come by and he saw on the internet my address and the association. He thought it was like Illinois, and we had a museum, so he come by to see the museum. And I asked him if he was driving, which way he's going on 66. And, oh, he wasn't. He'd done that last fall, come back over to visit a friend in Kansas, and he was going to Memphis to see Elvis. And he just stopped by.
You didn't take him through the garage and show him the
No, I didn't. I could have took $5 and showed him old cars or something, but I didn't. But I thought, you never know where you're going to find them or where they're going to be from when you find them.
Well, in Lebanon, Missouri, at McDonald's, they have a big mural painted in their restaurant, and it's Route 66, and it's showing all the towns. And then it's got a red car going down the road. And you'd be surprised how many people stop and
See that.
see that.
And what the car in the TV series Route 66 was really white.
Yeah.
It wasn't red.
It wasn't
Everybody
red.
thinks it's red, but it was a black and white TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you had your business, did you have a lot of foreign tourists come through?
Yes.
You did?
From Canada.
From Canada?
Yes.
Traveling Route 66 going?
Yes. I took Canadian coins, and that's when their coins were worth more than ours
Yeah.
was, and I took them to the bank and got a premium.
But you didn't have many tourists from Germany or
No.
Japan or
No,
France. Daughter said the other night there was a group here from Portugal stayed at the Rail Haven, and they were driving 66. And there was a group from Spain.
My gosh.
we had a float trip for a mural painter from Kansas City. He painted the murals in the capital, Jefferson City.
Oh,
Thomas Hart Benton.
Ben.
Yes, and we had a float trip with him on it, and he sketched various scenes on the Big Piney River. And my son hauled a float that guides out there, and he asked him for some of his sketches and that he throw it away, and he wouldn't give him to him.
Now, artists don't like to give away something they don't think is good enough.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't like
Or
that.
maybe something they think it's,
Yeah.
Well, they really don't want to.
He figured he was going to sell them.
Thomas Hart Benton floated the big Piney through
Yes.
there and sketched it and
Yes.
everything.
So we can go to Jeff City and we may see parts of the Big Piney.
Piney. When was that? During the 50s or early 60s?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't remember. But he floated and sketched on the way down. I remember his name was, the guide's name was Howard, Dobin Howard.
Now, did they work for you?
Well, they ran float trips for me.
What do you use? Canoes or big
No.
old
Wood boats,
wood john boats?
yes. 21 footers.
The heavy boat.
So they'd stay level in the river.
Didn't get out and carry them very much, did
No, no, sure didn't. It took 2 men to load them on a trailer, to haul them out where they put in at
Where did they put in?
Spring Creek. I floated the Gasconade and the Big Piney.
How far would they float in a day through there?
Well, I had sports writers convention from St. Louis, and I fed them on a gravel bar. But they'd float a day's float would Spring Creek down to the mouth of Piney.
And that'd take you over there around by them bluffs that you see over there on the
Yes.
north side
Yes,
of the interstate in there.
took them out where the bridge was across the river. The pilings were there on
When would do you float the year round or
no, in the summertime,
just the summer?
yes,
In the spring to maybe early fall?
yes. Would float, and we'd quit when the leaves were on the river.
You quit when the leaves fell and was on
Yes.
the river then?
Yes,
Was that area in there, let me see, 53, 54, this area around here in Springfield, there's a lot of drought. Did it extend that far east?
yes,
That was all pretty well dried up along in there.
Yes.
But you talked about the floods.
Well, the river got up over the farm several times. But the drought was, we had dry years and wet years.
Yeah. I remember 53, I believe, and 54 was when it was so dry here you couldn't wash your car or anything. I mean, you just, they wouldn't let you do it. McDaniel Lake dried up, the water supply. They drilled wells, and water was in short supply around here. Of course, Springfield's a lot smaller than it is now.
What is it now?
Population, oh, I think it's over 150,000 people.
Well, it was like 80,000 in the 50s, right?
Yeah.
She lived in Springfield part of her life.
You said you grew up in St. Louis, and right, as a child, you grew up in St. Louis.
Yes,
What area?
North St. Louis. I was Sportsman Park area.
Grand and Dodier, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I lived across. I was the first class in Beaumont High School, and I lived across the street from Fairgrounds Park.
Yeah, I know where it is, and the hotel, Fairgrounds Hotel.
Old Sportsman Park. I belonged to the Knothole gang. I'd cut classes in to see the ball games, and they called the school, and we couldn't get in until 3 o'clock.
Now, was that the Browns or the Cardinals?
Browns, both Cardinals. Dizzy Dean was the pitcher. Paul Dean was the pitcher.
But who were you for? Browns or Cardinals?
It was the Cardinals.
My dad was a Browns fan, so I haven't met many of those.
Yes.
And who did? what
I
did the
went over
Browns
there.
become?
I was Babe Ruth was left field, and that's where we sat in the bleachers, and he would throw a ball back to us when he caught it.
Pretty neat.
And you don't have any of those today?
Yes. No.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Mr. Hooker, well, thank you for taking time to do this interview with us today.
Okay.
You and your wife.
Yes. Not much of an interview.
Oh, yeah.